Bob Iger announcing his return as CEO of Disney.
In February 2020, Bob Chapek, who previously served as the chairman of Disney Parks Experiences and Products, took over for Bob Iger, the celebrated CEO who built the house and mouse to his global corporate entity worth billions over his 15-year tenure, which included acquisitions of Pixar, Lucasfilm, and Marvel. Within 2 years, Chapek lost his position to his former mentor. What went wrong? Chapek broke 3 laws of power from the 40 Laws of Power by Robert Greene that cost him his job, which include Law 1, never outshine the master. Law 18, do not build fortresses to protect yourself. Isolation is dangerous. And Law 41, avoid stepping into a great man's shoes. During the start of Chapek's tenure, Iger, as still chairman, was asked in what ways he would assist or help Chapek during the start of his role as the COVID-19 pandemic and lockdowns were occurring. Iger responded that a crisis of this magnitude and its impact in Disney would necessarily result in me actively helping Bob and the company contend with it, particularly since I ran the company for 15 years. Now, this didn't sit well with Chapek, as he didn't believe he needed the extra help, and any new leader wants to make their own mark and build their own legacy. Chapek wanted to do so, and in a lot of instances reversed or didn't listen to Iger's influence or feedback, or take his help in any way. In particular, he reversed some of the pricing policies for streaming services, and he didn't do his best to maintain relationships with talent in Disney leadership and celebrity talent in terms of entertainment. Further, Chapek isolated himself from a mentor who had built or spent 15 years building his network and influence that could have made his job easier. This is kind of just highlighted in the fact that Chapek had decided to engage with a legal battle with Black Widow star Scarlett Johansson over compensation, in which her Black Widow movie was directly released on Disney Plus, which would affect her compensation. Now, this irked Iger as well because he had prided himself on building very strong relationships with A-list level talent. And finally, just to kind of put the cap on this cold and awkward relationship between Iger and Chapek, during one of Iger's retirement parties, he had invited old Disney employees, including Chapek. During that party, Chapek had spent 10 minutes praising all his old employees and briefly mentioned Chapek, almost leaving him out in the cold. During Chapek's tenure, it was marked by price increases to Disney parks and streaming services, and worse, during that same time, he ended up isolating himself and building a moat around himself in terms of quickly taking power away from his reports and disrupting things too fast. In one particular case, he tried to consolidate all the profit and loss decision-making into one organization, which had bucked years of tradition and ways of doing business at Disney. So a lot of internal leadership was expressing their frustrations on how they could no longer run their own decision-making in terms of guiding their divisions. In November 2022, Bob Iger returned. Ultimately, what did Bob Chapek in? If he can't deliver expected results, the markets will correct this inefficiency. In Q3 of 2022, Disney reported higher than expected losses caused by its direct consumer streaming efforts, particularly Disney Plus. Shareholders are ultimately and always trying to maximize the value of their investment that they made. If you can produce results, a lot can be forgiven. However, Chapek made a lot of mistakes along the way. His cost-cutting and price-increasing measures were unpopular amongst fans and employees. He rejected the advice of his former mentor and made enemies along the way, especially internally, souring long-established relationships with film stars and leadership. On a Sunday evening before the markets opened, Disney's board moved quickly to bring Iger back because he was considering a position at another entertainment company. The mouse always makes its money, and we'll put in someone who can get the job done and make that happen. Unfortunately, Bob Chapek made too many mistakes along the way and ultimately lost his job because of it.